Okay, I'm going to try to make this very quick. Doing three bands on uh, on this part here of this top favorite CDs series I'm doing. So we're going to go from, so I did the M's. I think I had to go back to do one M. So now I'm kind of, yeah, I got one P. Yeah, so I had to go back and do a few bands that I missed here. And so here's at least one of the three from here for the series is the Police. Now, I feel like the Police have become a little bit, I would say a bit overrated, but I definitely still love their early albums. And they're definitely one of those great bands from the late 60s, or not from the late 60s, but from 78 to 83, basically 5 years that they were together as a group. There you go. Their first one, Orlando Stay More. Then you have Regatta de Blanc. And you had Senyata Mandata. They always have to have these funky names. At least the first three had the funky French title to the album. And then Ghost in the Machine and Synchronicity. But I think my favorites is, I believe the first one. The first one really had full-on energy. Like Sting definitely had like that real like stabbing vocals. Really just not like he's really just they were proved that they were just showing that hey, they were a new group. They had something to prove, and they definitely had a lot of great hits, and even just this first one here, like the opening track, Next to You and So Lonely. Just what great two songs just within just the first album. And Roxanne, everybody knows Roxanne, of course. Can't Stand Losing You, of course, that was a very big song for them. And yeah, some tracks are a bit questionable. Not questionable, but at least kind of on the weaker side, like Peanuts. Not really a big fan on that song. And then Regatta de Blanc, which I don't think is like a great sophomore album, but it's still kind of very enjoyable. I mean, with Walking on the Moon, that's my favorite on that album. And Message in a Bottle, which, I mean, kind of a little bit overrated, I would say. And I think I like the instrumental Regatta de Blanc. That's actually a really good instrumental. They did, however, do a good number of instrumentals. Zenyatta Mandata from 1980. I kind of like. Okay, Don't Stand So Close to Me. I think Voices in My Head. That was kind of one song I kind of liked. I'm trying to think. Yeah, but I mean, again, it seemed like they all kind of blend in. At least their albums. And I really like Ghost in the Machine. That was 1981, so it definitely sounds a little bit like what the 80s kind of would end up being in the production, all that. With Spirits in the Material World, I mean, Spirits in the Material World is definitely a great song. I love that song. Demolition Man, really love that. Invisible Sun. And Darkness, what a great ending to Darkness. I mean, what a great ending to Ghost in the Machine. And then you have Synchronicity, which I think my favorites, I think, on Synchronicity is Synchronicity 2 and Wrapped Around Your Finger. So, and again, that kind of really, kind of foreshadowed Sting's solo career, what his albums were going to basically sound like. Especially the first one from, I think, 85. Was that his first? I think his first solo album was like in 1985. Okay, and then after the Police, we have Simon and Garfunkel. Now, I actually only have just one album that I really actually really love from them. And nothing really against their other albums, but I really like Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. Now this album is going to be 60 years old this coming, I think, October. I believe it came out October of '66. And this definitely has an abundance of great songs, especially Scarborough Fair, which, a year later, they, for the movie The Graduate, they included that song in that movie, and of course it became a very big hit for them in '68. Oh, I love Cloudy. Great song. Homeward Bound, which I think was released on the Sound of Silence album, but I believe in the UK. Was that how that kind of went? I think that ended up being on this album over in Europe. The 59th Street Bridge song. I love that. It's short and like kind of a little bit twee. And I like the flowers never bend with the rainfall. It's very poetic. And I like the one where they mention about Bob Dylan and stuff like that. They mention about A Rainy Day Woman. For Emily, whenever I may find her, that was kind of like one of their chart singles. That was kind of a song you probably heard on the radio. And this one here, towards the end, was very controversial at the time. 7 o'clock news and Silent Night, which kind of, I would say, reflected a lot on the Vietnam War. But yeah, my favorite is definitely Rosemary and Thyme. But I do also like their last one, Bridge Over Troubled Water. And I think Bookends is okay. I think a lot of people overpraise it a little bit too much. But yeah, Bridge Over Troubled Water, I really like that too. And it's got more, I think it's definitely got more of their hits, I believe. Yeah, El Condor Pasa and obviously Bridge Over Troubled Water. The Boxer. And their cover of Bye Bye Love. But I think my favorite from Simon & Garfunkel is this one here. Okay, which then leads me off to, again, going back to the 70s, is a group I think a lot of people get a little bit sick of, at least these days. But you cannot deny how well and super talented these guys really were. Although Walter Becker's, he's been gone now for quite some time. But at least we still have Donald Fagen, and obviously his health has been kind of going down a little bit, and he's getting very, he's probably at the point of his time now, ready to retire. But I'm talking about good old Steely Dan. And here's a few of their albums, and and again, I know some people get a little bit, I think, fed up with them just because of their quirky sound and their I don't know what you call it, but their bitchy attitude. But they were definitely great. And you had so many great talented people on every single one of their albums. Like, however, their first one, Can't Buy a Thrill, I love that their very first one. It's just like, just amazing, and almost smooth. On their first one, they have Skunk Baxter. What's the other guy's name? That sung on, I'm trying to remember now. David Palmer singing on Dirty Work and Brooklyn Owes the Chamber Under Me. Yep, yeah. Snooky Young, Clyde King. Many great talented people on the first one. You had Do It Again, Reelin' in the Years. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Definitely a great album. Love that. Love those songs. And Only a Fool Would Say That. It's definitely another great highlight on that album. And I also kind of like also Countdown to Ecstasy. They're one from '73, which I think didn't really do as well as the first one. And again, great songs like Razor Boy, Showbiz Kids. Yeah, love that one. And Pretzel Logic. And I love the song Pretzel Logic. Really, really great song. Hal Blaine. Oh no, no, he plays on the next one. But Jim Gordon. Yeah, jeez, Jim Gordon, a great freaking session player. Um, yeah, I'm trying to remember what else. Any Major Dude will tell you that was on Pretzel Logic, and of course, Ricky Don't Lose That Number. That was like, of course, the big kind of the big blockbuster song. And then you have Katie Lied. Where's Katie Lied? Oh, right here. Yeah, from '75. Now this one has Hal Blaine, but it also has, which you'll show up on the at least the next two albums, Michael McDonald. So that's kind of cool. And I believe Rick Derringer. Yeah, Rick Derringer is on here. Um, Everyone's Gone to the Movies. I love that song. Doctor Wu. And they did, and I think they did have a song on here that was kind of like really not as big as obviously their previous singles, especially Ricky Don't Lose That Number, which I think was Black Friday, I believe. Yeah, Black Friday. When Black Friday comes. Yeah, yeah, great. And then the Royal Scam from '76. Who doesn't love this album? My favorite is definitely Golden Earring. Was that on this album? Was that on a Oil Scam? Maybe on. It doesn't show the songs in here, but. And then you have their great Kid Charlemagne. Yeah, that was on there. And then obviously their big blockbuster album, Asia. I mean, what could be said? Just a masterpiece of an album, and definitely my favorite album from theirs. And then you have Gaucho from 1980 or '81. It was recorded though during the shortly after they released Asia. I think my favorite is definitely Babylon Sisters. But again, I don't want to make these videos super long. But it's funny, whenever you think of the '70s, I know some people think of Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles. But I do also think of Steely Dan. And this is kind of an old set. Citizen, I believe it's called. Yeah. From '72 to 1980. Then they had their reunion albums, which I think they're fine. I think there was one from 2000. And I think they had another one in 2003. I think it was called Two Against Nature. But again, that's all I could say here. Steely Dan's great, and again, those other like Simon and Garfunkel, Police are definitely great too. And great to be back here and trying to get back on board with my top favorite CDs. And I really enjoyed this one. So, okay, folks, hope you enjoy your day. Take care.